Hey, what's up, guys? So I've got a question for you guys. Something that I've been wondering is, what's the best general purpose radar detector? You know, for somebody who just wants something simple and easy to use, what would be like the best pick for them? You know, it's the question that I get all the time, and I never really know how to give a simple answer to it. Like, the actual answer is always, it depends on your personality and where you drive and blah, 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 blah. Like, I want to be able to give a simpler answer for people, and generally when people ask, you know, which radar detector should I buy, they're usually wanting three main things. Like, number one, enough range to actually slow down in time to avoid a speeding ticket, right? It doesn't have to be like the longest range ever, but as long as it has enough time to do the job, that's fine, you know? So enough range to do the job. The second thing is going to have minimal false alerts, you know? So little to no false alerts, ideally. So something that when it goes off, they actually pay attention to it. And then finally, the third thing is at a reasonable price. So those three things. Now, I've got three detectors in mind that would fulfill this criteria. They're all very similar detectors. They're direct competitors, and they're all designed to be easy to use, where you don't have to pair it with a cell phone. It's good on the highway, it's good in the city, and they're just good kind of all-around picks. The three detectors that I have in mind are going to be the Untitled DFR7. This is the LRD950, but the DFR7 that's about to come out. There's the original Escort Passport Max. This is the Max 2, but let's say the original Escort Passport Max. And then finally, the regular Radenso Pro radar detector. All of these three detectors, they're all very similar. They all have similar performance capabilities. Some are a little bit better than others. They all have pretty similar false filtering capabilities. They all have a GPS chip, so you've got your GPS lockouts, you've got your low speed muting, you've got your red light camera alerts. So they all are very similar detectors. And they're all priced at about $300 to $350. So price-wise, they're all really similar as well. So now the question is, like, in the interest of just keeping it simple and maybe recommending one, which one should I recommend? Which one should you guys, you know, buy? What's the best one to get? And I'm honestly not actually that sure, which is why I want to hear from you guys and hear, what do you think would be, like, which one would you prefer running? And if you were in my shoes, which one would you recommend to people, you know? I'm not really sure. So let's briefly talk about three different detectors. I'll go over the basic, you know, pros and cons and how they compare and stuff. A little bit of backstory, but if you watch my videos, you're probably already familiar with a lot of these detectors. So let's go ahead and start with the Untitled. So this is the LRD950. Its replacement, the DFR7, is going to be coming out in about a week or two, and that one's going to be retailed for about $299. So $300 is where the DFR7 is going to be sold. This has been a really popular detector. It's got performance, you know, similar to the Max or better. And the appealing thing about it was the price was so low. The price actually went into free fall, and you could actually buy it for less than $200 before. So it was one of those things where you can get performance like a higher end detector at a much lower price point. The thing is, they've discontinued it, and now they're coming out with the replacement at $300, and it looks like the price is actually going to be more stable around that price point. So it's no longer the crazy killer deal that it used to be. So it's worth taking another look compared to some of the other detectors, which is why I'm doing this video, you know? So around $300, you've got your GPS lockouts. The lockouts are manual, so you do have to press the mute button here twice to teach it what the false alerts are, the stationary ones. You've got an updatable red light camera database. You can see it's got the USB port here for updating on your computer. It's got low speed muting, which would make the detector completely silent below speed. I mean, you've got all your basic core functionality that you need. The blind spot filtering is very good, and it makes for a really good, you know, plug and play detector. Put it on your windshield, and really all you have to do is maybe update the red light camera database, which doesn't get updated that often, and teach it where the false alerts are located. Programming is pretty simple, and it really doesn't require all that much expertise in radar detector, which is the appeal of it, you know? Now, another detector, and kind of what that guy is the direct competitor to, is the original Escort Passport Max. This guy, when it first came out, it was $550, and it was kind of lackluster in that it made they had these huge promises on its capabilities and performance, but it turns out it was not the top performer, even though there were claims that it was going to be. So this was a big letdown. There were a lot of bugs with it, there were a lot of build quality issues with it, and there were a lot of people that really didn't like this detector when it first came out. Now, that was about 3 years ago. Since then, Escort has addressed and fixed a lot of the big bugs with the detector. The build quality issues have been taken care of. A lot of the false alert issues, a lot of stuff that was going on has since been improved with the Max. Additionally, and maybe very importantly, this guy used to retail for $550. Now you can find him online on Amazon for about $319, $319, which is a much more appealing price, and it puts that in more of the, I wouldn't quite say fully budget category, but more of like a reasonable price, something accessible by a lot of people, you know? Now the issue is that it's going to be discontinued soon, and I think that's one of the reasons why the price is as low as it is. They've got this guy, which is going to be replaced by the, well, there's the Max 2 and the Max 360. This is actually the Max 2. You can see the little Bluetooth icon there, and the only difference is that this guy actually has Bluetooth built into the detector. You don't have to buy a $100 power cable that has Bluetooth built into the power cable in order to pair it with your phone. So with the Max, especially if it's still available for the time being at $319, the main appeal is that the lockouts are completely automatic, meaning you can put it on your windshield and this detector will automatically learn what's a false alert from a speed sign or a grocery store. You don't have to figure it out yourself and manually hit a button to teach the detector, well, anything. You can just take it out of the box and put it on your windshield and it does the rest for you, which I think is the biggest appeal of this detector. It's the most plug and play and easy to use detector. The screen is also going to be the nicest screen. Like, it's got an OLED screen just like the Uniden, but I mean, it's got different colors. You can customize the color to match the interior of your car. You've got more information here. I mean, the frequency display goes to 3 digits instead of 2. So there's definitely benefits now to the Max, especially now that they've fixed a lot of the bugs and lowered the price point quite a bit. So it's for that reason that while it's still available, I think it's a more compelling package than it used to be. So yeah, I mean, a lot of cool stuff to say about this one that didn't used to be the case. Finally, the last one that I want to talk about is the Radenso Pro. There's 2 versions. There's the Radenso Pro SE, which is the higher performance version, retails for $500. This is the regular Radenso Pro, which retails for $350. This is the one that it's, you know, again, the more affordable one. And this guy, performance-wise, is going to be comparable to the Unidens and the Escort, plus minus. You know, one might be a little bit better in one band, another one may be a little bit better on another band, that kind of stuff. But they're all within the same ballpark in many ways. It's got low-speed muting like the other detectors. It's a little bit more configurable here. You've got your red light cameras that can be updated here via USB. I mean, you got your GPS lockouts. On this detector, the lockouts are completely manual, where you do have to press the button here to, you know, teach it where the false alerts are, and it will learn and lock those out for you. I think the lockout implementation here, as I've mentioned in other videos, it still needs a little bit of work. You may have to lock out a signal multiple times, and even after doing that, sometimes it won't fully lock a signal out. So I think maybe for that reason, plus the fact that it's actually the most expensive detector here, not by a lot. I mean, it's $350 versus, you know, $300, which is the cheapest one, and the middle price one is $320. And again, it's Amazon, so prices will fluctuate a lot, but you get the idea. Like, okay, it's $50 more than the cheapest one, and the lockouts are an issue. So for me personally, I think that would be the reason that I would maybe recommend another detector over this one. But if you want maybe like the most compact detector, like if you drive on a motorcycle, for example, you've got limited space, or you just want a detector that doesn't actually take a lot of space on your windshield, with this guy, if you want something more compact, you've got a good option here. And it's for that reason I think this is a compelling option as well, especially if you're looking for detectors kind of in this category and this price point. This is another one to take a look at. So now my question for you guys is, out of these 3, which one do you think is the best, right? Which one should be like the default go-to recommendation? Personally, I think that if somebody wants a totally, completely plug-and-play package, you know, the Max may be the one to get because of the automatic lockouts. I think that's a pretty cool feature. If you want something that's pretty much plug and play, that's a really nice one. I know a lot of people are big fans of the Unidens as well. This guy, the performance is a little bit better, so if you're willing to do the manual lockouts, you can get that, you know? And then you've got the Radenso. I like the low-speed muting customization capabilities. I wish the lockouts were a little bit better, and again, as I mentioned, that might be the reason that I would probably look to some of the other ones until they get that fully refined. But that's kind of my take on things, and like I said, I would like to be able to just recommend one of these detectors in general without having to go into this big long spiel of, well, there's this and there's that, like, to make things as simple as possible. I'm curious to hear which one you guys would prefer and why. So let me know down in the comment area, what your preference is and what your take is between the detectors. There's also a good discussion on RDF. I asked the same thing on the forums, and there's a lot of great responses there. So if you're curious, if you're wanting to decide yourself and you're not quite sure, take a look at the post on RDF. I'll put a link down in the video description to where you can actually read that thread and see a lot of other people's opinions. Same thing with the comment area for this video. You can see what other people think, and what they would prefer and why. Finally, if you want to buy any of these detectors, I'll have a link down in the video description. The prices should all be pretty much what I was saying. The only maybe questionable one would be the Max because, number one, it's being discontinued, so you'll want to check to see if it's still available, if it's one that you're looking at. And number two, prices can fluctuate with that one a little bit more than with the others. So there you go. That's kind of what I have in mind. That's what I'm wondering, and that's what I would love to hear from you guys about. So with all that said, what do you prefer for yourself, and what do you think would be a good recommendation in general for other people? So awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say as well. So awesome. See you guys in the next video.